All righty, all righty, all righty. Let's make sure this is all working. G'day, Neil. Hey, let me know if you can see me, hear me, and you can see the whiteboard. Welcome, everybody. Is this going to be fun today? Throw a vote in any community and you can divide it so quickly. Today's all about bringing you all back together. I'm very excited because I can see properly for the first time. I got some new, they call them occupational lenses. So they're only good for computers and reading close, and it's a miracle. I can see all of this beautifully. So this is very good. Betty can't even wait for the presentation before she's throwing out the questions. That's lovely. Well, let's wait and see. Yeah, these computer guys, they are a miracle. They are just absolutely fantastic because I had multifocals and they were okay, but with the change in lens, they are not so good, particularly for this webinar stuff. So that is excellent. All right, great. Well, we will answer all of your questions and plot out in particular what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks. It's already October 1st here in Australia. We are in the future. It's already Monday. For most of you, it's Sunday evening. Last week, we had the big vote on the plan, and Jeremy's Instagram plan overwhelmingly won. But like I said, in any community, as soon as you introduce voting, it brings out different people, and people who vote lost. They didn't lose. It was like we had the big grand final, the Australian Rules grand final. And frankly, I don't like any of the teams in the grand final, but I sort of had a soft spot for barracking for Collingwood. And even though 999 times out of 1,000, nothing makes me more happy than seeing Collingwood lose. There I was just getting them to, I was cursing West Coast Eagles and barracking, and they lost literally in the last 2 minutes of the game. Like it was, for a neutral, it was a great game. But here I am cursing out West Coast Eagles, who I don't like, and Collingwood, who I don't normally like as a general rule. But that's the way it is. You put a competition in front of people and there are winners and losers and all those sorts of things. And, that's life. The other thing that's life is it's also any sort of vote is a filter on the insecurities of the voter, right? We vote out of fear more than we do this is just general, like speaking in general. We vote to protect losses far more than we vote to get something positive, or we'd rather, and that's just human beings, right? That's the way we evolved. I listened to an amazing podcast interview, and I'll get the Naval. Somebody might be able to write it in the chat so I can say it. But Sam Harris and Naval, he's the guy who wrote, I forget his surname. They had this amazing discussion about race, and the book Sapiens that he wrote is just amazing. All very good stuff. Anyway, it's just fascinating to look at human nature and how things evolve and all of those sorts of stuff. But you get all of these things happening, and like I said, a vote is often an insight into a community's insecurities. So my job today is to get you focused on the main game, and the big difference with people who are ultimately successful in their enterprises compared to people who fail to create a business is they let those fears get in the way of common sense. So let's just take one right off the top, right off the top at the absolute front. Oh, do I have to pay for ClickFunnels to do this? Well, yes, you do. But that's where most of you stopped and said, oh my God, I have to pay $97 to get ClickFunnels, and I can't do that right now. That is, you didn't even read that, blocked you off from the plan, right? Because the plan specifically addresses that issue, right? Jeremy's plan starts with no money at all, right? No money. And that is totally fine, right? Because he tells you in the plan how to make that initial money so that you can pay for shout outs and you can pay for ClickFunnels and you can pay for all those things, right? There's a 14-day trial too, Ted. You're absolutely correct. There's all of these things in there, but because of fear, and I get it, I totally get it. That is, a thing. But here's the thing, if $97 is if that is the block of your dreams, that you can't buy one single thing, or you can't, let alone a domain name or any of the other things that you need to get, well, guess what? You need to go somewhere else. This is not the place for you right now, right? Because this is a place for people who go, okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, maybe I have to work 6 hours a week doing freelance copywriting for people who need blog posts, or I'm going to go on Fiverr because I'm good at design and I'm going to design people's logos. I'm going to design 10 logos a week to get the money to be able to do this, right? The situation here is, I am broke. I am busted. My reputation is ruined. I'm effectively bankrupt. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, right? My reputation is in tatters, and I've got no list. That is the situation that we are starting with, right? It's burnt. It is a, completely burnt, the field has been raised, okay? And I don't like the fact that the field has been raised. So over 30 days, I'm going to have to do some sacrifices. I'm going to have to do some stuff I don't like. As I was going through, I don't need this, but I'm going to do it. And yet there's a bunch of you who are like, oh, do I have to buy this? Or do I have to do this? Or I don't like Instagram. Or I don't like this. That's fine. It's not for you. Go away. Go away. You're not serious about creating a business. You are simply not serious about promoting or building or changing where you're at right now. It's a hobby for you, and that's cool. Look, I love it. I love you hanging out. I love you hanging out in the group, and that's all great. But I didn't start this new challenge to make friends. I just started this new challenge to make businesses. So you just have to all harden the F up a little bit. Right? It's crazy. This is just absolutely ridiculous. You need to see and decide whether you're serious or not. Now, let me make this very clear. This 30 days that I'm about to embark upon, where the goal is to make $10,000 in 30 days and build a business from scratch in 30 days, is hard. Make no mistake. This is hard. And, and I can do it because I have, this is my full-time job, but it's going to be super hard because I'm not starting with any of the advantages that I would normally have, right? And it's going to be intense, as you will see very shortly when we start breaking this all down, right? There are days where I'll be working 8 CFT days. That is insane, right? But, Kenneth, you want to learn Instagram. That's great. That's cool. But it's a tool. It's about, we're here to build a business. What tool you use and what tool is appropriate for you is up to you. All right. But seriously, this, it just kills me. If like the amount of gnashing of teeth on the group this week was phenomenal. Right? Nobody's forcing you to do this, and perhaps that's part of the problem. right? But I have to do that. Then go, and if you haven't got the money, then you have to work for the money. Or more importantly, go away from here and get your lives in order. Remember when I said you need to get your affairs in order? That's what you've got to do. This is not the place for you. Right? If you're worried where your rent check is coming from, if you are worried about where your next dollar is coming from, guess what? You need to get that shit sorted out pronto, right? Because you are not going to be able to create a business while you are stressing out over every single dollar. It's not going to happen. Right? Does that mean that you have to be flush with cash? Absolutely not. I'm starting off from scratch. No money. Does that mean I have to sell some stuff? Yes. I'm looking around to see what I can put on Craigslist to sell and raise some money. I'm going to be following Jeremy's plan about that. Right? But it's get serious. If it's a hobby for you, that's cool. That's fine. But don't go and whinge with the rest of the group because, oh, do I have to get this? Oh, do I have to get that? Oh, I don't like this. Then that's a whinge. Oh, and then my next favorite one. Oh, Jeremy's been in jail. Oh, he's been in jail. Now, this is hardly a surprise given that he wrote about it in the first 3 paragraphs of his plan and a majority of you voted for it. Gary Halbert, the most important person in my entire life. Everything that I have comes down to the training I received from him. He went to jail. The boron letters. What did you think boron meant? He wrote them while he was in jail. He was in jail when he wrote perhaps the most important copywriting document of all time was written in jail. People make mistakes. I was going to use some biblical verses and I thought, no, I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. But at the end of the day, you have to judge a person's actions, not what you read about them online. Because let me tell you, every single person that has done anything of use, let's take it out of building a business and internet marketing. Elon Musk, right, has as many haters as he does welded on fans. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. Mother Teresa had people who absolutely hated her. Ask any of the doctors who treated her when she came to America to get her heart condition sorted out. They all hated her. She was the biggest prima donna, and she was one of the most unruly patients they have ever treated. Mother Teresa, right? So, you know, you've got to look at yourselves and say, you know, who are you to judge? Who are we to judge? And second, how can you express surprise at that when it's written in the first 3 paragraphs? I've been bankrupt, for God's sake. Why are you listening to me? I've been bankrupt. I've lost everything. In fact, I've lost everything twice. Why are you listening to me? Right? Why are you bothering listening to me? Go away. If that is a problem for you, if you can't find it in yourselves to forgive somebody and take them at face value. Yeah. Now, hey, make no mistake, you know, if people consistently burn you, newsflash, time to get rid of them, right? No question. Gary used to tell me, and excuse me for slightly colourful language here, is that he refuses to work with anybody who hasn't been bitch slapped by life. Why does he say that? Because, you know, the millions that I made, you know, Ernest Saunders is a guy, and most of you, there wouldn't be many Europeans up, but that name, he was the CEO of Guinness, went to jail. And he was instrumental in helping me get funding for my company many years ago, over 20 years ago now. Instrumental. But if I'd been so high and mighty and judged him because he'd been to prison, then, well, Martha Stewart's been to prison, for goodness sake. Yeah, it just kills me. Yet here you are you're saying, oh, I want to build a business. I want to, I want to do, but you're not, you're looking for any tiny excuse to say, oh, well, this plan isn't going to work because the guy was a felon. Frank Kern, wiped out by the FTC. Perry Belcher, felon. These guys made mistakes. Or sometimes, here's the thing, a lot of the times they didn't even make mistakes, right? It was other, but at the end of the day, they took responsibility for what they did and they built themselves up again, right? And they learned from that. They learned from that pain. That is a key. No, Gail, I will not calm down. I won't calm down because I'm about to bust my nuts over things. I just looked at what I'm going to be doing between October 15 and November 15, and it's not pleasant. It's not fun. It's not what I have to do. But be screwed. Be screwed. If I am going to let people who are saying, oh, this person's been in jail, oh, I'm not going to follow his plan, particularly when A, it was in the first 3 paragraphs of the plan, and B, the vast majority of your colleagues voted for it. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. So you need to decide right now, watching this in the chat or listening to this in replay, you need to decide whether you are going to harden up and actually, and look, honestly, this next 30 days, seriously, for a lot of you, it's not an appropriate way for you to start your business. It's not appropriate, right? And it doesn't mean that you are weak or you suck. You've just got a lot of commitments, right? And that's okay, right? That is cool, right? This is for me, it's like a, like you see the montage in the Rocky movies where he's out in Russia and he's got nothing and he has to, punch slabs of meat and put tires up hills and all this sort of thing. This is the business equivalent, right, of that. Wet laser. Why are you afraid? Are you going to die if it doesn't work out? Is somebody going to come to your house and blow it up if you don't manage to build your business in 30 days? Are you going to internally combust, leaving just a smoking pair of shoes if you don't complete this in the 30 days? No, you're not. Get real, people. Nobody's going to give a toss. Nobody. Probably even most of your family members don't even know that you're doing this. Give me a break. I'm not getting angry at you, Wet Laser. But this is just another thing. Oh, I'm afraid. What the hell? Afraid is living in Somalia and wondering if your daughters are going to be raped tonight. That's afraid. We're building a business here on our time, and nobody will give a rat's if we succeed or fail. Nobody will it will not hurt us. It will not inflict pain or agony of any real stretch. You might get a little stress headache from reading too much or working too much. But it is a stretch, right? It's a stretch from your comfort zone. But please, give me a break. Be afraid when some dude bursts through your door in a home invasion. That's worth being afraid about. Be afraid if you're one of those poor people who've just had their homes wiped out in Indonesia with that incredible tsunami, an earthquake. Be afraid of that. What we're doing here, please, perspective, please. This is not being afraid. Oh, I'm going to. If you are that tied up, to use another football analogy, in the preliminary finals, one of the teams who was by the favorite, let's not say super favorite, but the favorite, they turned up and they didn't play the game. They didn't even score a goal, which is unheard of before half time, right? They didn't. No, Chris, I'll go when I'm ready to go. Because I don't think people are hearing this. I don't think people are getting it enough. You need to be completely understanding of where you're at, because the reality is, and if it was life and death, then perhaps more of you would actually do it, right? Because if you died, like if somebody walked into the room and blew your brains out, if you didn't achieve the $10,000 goal, then maybe, just maybe, you would do those extra little things. You would do that, but nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do any of that, right? So let's get some perspective. Let's prepare ourselves properly. Let's get our affairs in order if you're going to follow along and do the 30 days. And by the way, there was no law that says you have to do the plan that I'm doing, right? You could absolutely pick one of the other plans, right? This is it is 100% optional, right? Which is why most of you won't do it, and that's okay, right? But don't infect the group, the community, with that ridiculousness, right? It's okay. It's cool. You lost your vote, right? That's okay. Sucks. Many people can appreciate that in all walks of life, all around the world, lots of times. I lose lots of games of Clash Royale, and sometimes I get way more angry than I should. It's a computer game. It's a phone game, right? Nobody dies. Nobody does anything right. So let's get focused. Let's get real. And rather, just for this next 45-day period, rather than give in to your fears, reframe them, right? So instead, instead of saying, do we need to get ClickFunnels? I can't spend the $97 plus 14 days. And if you can't, that's fine. But this is not where you need to be right now. You need to get your affairs in order. But for most of you, the reality is that you do have your affairs basically in order. Nobody's coming around to repossess your house next week. So, it's about, okay, well, if you don't have, if you're literally at break even, then, okay, what are you going to do? What extra activities are you going to do to earn some money? There are hundreds of activities that you can do and earn money right now. You can do editing of articles. You can write articles. You can design stuff. You can create things. You can help people do SEO linking. You can do any sort of thing to get $97. A $10 an hour job, that's a 10 hours a week with a $10 an hour job to get your thing. Drive Uber, right? Do Uber. Do any of those things. All right? Kenneth asks, what's the 4 E's? Well, we're about to talk about that right now. So it is October 1 here, and it'll be October 1 for you on Monday, right around the world, which means we've got 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks before we need to get cracking on this plan. So the 4 E's for you, I have a 5th E, which literally doubles the degree of difficulty, but there you go. First E is energy, which is all about sleep, food, and making sure that you have the literal energy, because the number one reason that people don't build their business They simply don't have the energy to do it. After their 9 to 5, after all their other commitments, they just do not have the willpower. They don't have the fuel tank, right, to do that. So we've got to make sure our fuel tank is right. That's energy. The next one is engagements. So for me, that's all about what's my schedule like. I have, for me, I have coaching commitments. Like I don't shut down the academy for 4 weeks just because I'm doing this insanity, right? So schedule, coaching for me, and family, right? Ignoring my family for 30 days is not ecologically smart, right? There's no point why build a business if it involves you ignoring your loved ones or just, blocking everybody out, right? That doesn't seem to me to be sustainable. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. The next one is environment. And actually, I made one major improvement to my environment this morning, which I'm very excited about. These computer glasses, they are amazing. I can't believe how clear this monitor is. And I can look down at what I'm writing and it's all beautifully clear. That is an enhancement to my environment, right? That is and my eyes will be more rested because they're not squinting to try read the chat comments, right? So that is an improvement in environment, making sure I try to get rid of distractions. Jeremy talks about in his plan, turning off all notifications. I shall be turning off all notifications come October 15. Anything to do with things that can impact you, interrupt you, get in the way of your flow is an environmental issue. Also, if you're searching around for a pen or you're trying to find your computer glasses, or you're looking for something and you're spending 20 minutes trying to find a particular pen or your Apple Pencil or whatever it happens to be, that is a challenge with environment. Okay, so we've got to get our energy right, we've got to get our engagements right, and we've got to get our environment right. The fourth thing, which we'll talk about a little bit today, is we've also got to get our execution plan. And that is literally breaking down our plan. And in our case, well, in my case, and I hardly recommend your place because it's the only thing that'll work for entrepreneurs, is pulling that entire plan apart and then breaking it down into manageable chunks. There's also plenty of stuff I don't know in that plan that I have no clue about. It's Kanban, I should say. Don't worry, I'll explain that later on. Yes, that's right. One of the plans, not this one, but they talked about getting meal plans. That's environment. What are you going to eat? If you're stressing there, thinking about what are you going to eat at lunch, that takes away, right, mental energy from the work at hand. So you need to have those thoughts in mind, right? All of these things are about getting you ready for that. Now, that's what you guys have to worry about. My fifth one that I have to worry about is educate. So how do I do this and then do the then show you guys as well? So how am I going to live stream? How am I going to do that, which gives value to you so that you can follow along, but not being boring, and huge amount of stuff to do with that. Literally, this 1E doubles the workload, but that's okay. I've done it before. And it's just for 30 days. Then I'll go on a holiday, right? But this is the thing. Okay, so we've got energy, engagements, environment, and execution. Okay, so let's just have a look very quickly, because I can knock it off very quickly, at energy. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, okay? So what's my energy plan? So the first thing is 8 hours religious sleep. And I suspect what that'll mean for me is going to sleep at 9 p.m. and getting up at 5 a.m. because I'm a morning person. If you're a night person, don't do that. Twist it around, right? Do that, because I think I'm going to need the extra time in the mornings to do things, because like I said, I've got engagements, I've got things that I have to do. But 8 hours of religious sleep is crucial. Then a huge deal is food and the type of food that we eat. And I'm the last person to be talking about diets and food. Normally I eat terribly, but, and it's good timing, is I was 20 kilos heavier than I am now. And I lost that through following the bulletproof diet. And one of the best parts of the bulletproof diet is it's a way for me, and it's me, right? Different diets work for different people. So this is just me right now, but I will be going bulletproof 100% because it is no question the absolute most energy given diet that you can. You don't feel drowsy after you eat. You know, if you have a ham and cheese croissant, you're going to feel drowsy. If you do bulletproof, you are not, right? So it's a thing. So there is some prep that I have to do there in terms, because I found the most challenging thing in bulletproof is actually a lunch. So there is definitely some prep that I have to do there to make sure I've got that all sorted out. But that's part of the thing. So that my energy plan. Oh, and third, and I do this anyway, but meditation. So there'll always be at least 20 minutes of meditation. Oh, and the fourth part is the fourth part of the energy plan is day off. Now, Jeremy doesn't have this in his plan. He has no days off. So, sorry, dude, but I don't think that's sustainable. So, day off is going to be part of the plan. So there's going to be a day where I don't do anything and I step completely away from the computer. In all likelihood, that'll be Sunday. So I'll take Sundays off. And what's important about that day off, and this is really crucial, you cannot be in your environment. That means this thing has to go, right? It has to, like, if you're going to truly recharge, it has to be a complete disconnect from anything that you have to do when it comes to, because just having the phone within eye distance, the science is in, right? You are not getting a full recharge if you do that, right? You have to do something completely out of your environment. Okay, so that's the thing. All right, so that's my energy plan. All right, now next week we're going to talk about engagements, and we're going to talk more about environment. All right. Workout and exercise, by the way, is a great thing. In fact, I'm going to make an alteration to my energy plan already, because I sort of do this, but also walk the dogs each day. But with a tweak. No podcasts. Just music. Because what that allows me to do when you do a no podcast, just music plan, it actually allows the subconscious part, and I'm calling it subconscious. It's not actually your subconscious, but I think most people get that as a concept. This is the, no podcasts. If you're doing podcasts, your brain isn't getting a recharge because it's listening to the podcast, right? Or it's listening to the audio book, or it's listening to, now that's typically what I listen to when I walk, right? Because I'll be intensely working so much, then I really need the walk to be a turn off time, because here's the cool thing, right? Let's just change colors here. These three activities actually allow the brain to come up with your best ideas. Now, for other people, workouts, jogs, bike rides, gym, it achieves all of these things. All right. It achieves absolutely all of this stuff. So that's the thing. So there we are. That's the energy plan. Now, let's switch gears. Where are we? Yep. Bing. So I'm going to skip down to execute, and I want to show you how I am breaking down a plan. So just let me know. Can you see the? You should be able to see a plan there. That's Alison's plan. And you should see my notes for Jeremy on the right-hand side. Can you see both of those on the screen? Just let us know in the chat. If I'm blurry, it doesn't matter. Can you see the sell funnels on Instagram and the notes for Jeremy clearly? That's the important part. God, I had no value. Seriously. Good. Thank you. Excellent. All right, cool. So what I want to take a little bit of time for the rest of the time here is the looking at how I go about breaking down a plan for execution. All right. So I do this on my iPad because it's nice. I've got my notes on the right-hand side, and then I've got my iPads. Oh, look there in the first paragraph, where he talks about his prison sentence. So there you go. Wow, what a shock. Okay, day one. First, I would immediately turn off all notifications, email, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. I'll not allow myself to get addicted to distractions. I fully concur with that. So I've put here, turn off all notifications. Then the goal is a financial goal of $10,000. Now, as many of you know, actually many of you won't know, but in the academy, I teach and I hate financial goals. All right, because they are out of your control, right? The spending decision is out of your control. What I like to focus on are goals that that are 100% in your control, which will hopefully result in the $10,000. But because I'm following this plan, there is a $10,000 goal. So, my aim between October 15 and November 15 is to make $10,000. But that's the last I'll ever even think about it, right? Is at the start and at the end when I'm tallying up. Other than that, I'll be focusing on, and Jan hit it on the head, process goals, right? Things that are, because I'm if I was building a business to just, how do I say it? Just for this challenge, like there's many ways I could make $10,000, right? There's many, many ways that I could do that, right? I could just, sell consulting, which is one of the things Jeremy suggests here, right? But I want to build a business. I still want to make the $10,000, but I want to build a business that lasts, that's sustainable. I want to build a business that, creates a team. My other goals here, I've just written this down in my, I think, and actually I put it on Instagram. Real businesses solving a real problem built with a real team. And I want team members that I employ to be drawn from the challenge. That's ultimately my goal, so that it will be a real business going forward. All right. So I don't want to just build it just so I can look good for the challenge, but I can build it sustainably. So far more important for me are things like happy customers. And remember that mention just for a second. So let's have a look else what I've got here. And one of the things here in day one, now this is where so many of you got sidetracked, right? Because you didn't read what was actually being written. Okay. So, and he does it in virtually a sentence. Once I had my financial goal, I would select a niche market, or what I call a HCBA, hungry, capable buying audience. Hungry means they have a big plan that needs to be solved. Capable means they have the money and willingness to pay for the solution. We need to find that, to use his terminology, HCBA marketplace, right? That's what we've got to find, right? Because of my vast marketing experience, no flies on Jeremy, I know there's a ton of fitness professionals on Instagram who struggle to get leads with clients. That's great. That's his choice. He is telling you to make a choice, not to provide funnels for fitness. Well, okay, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. You have to pick your own market that makes sense to you, right? That a hungry, capable buying audience. So the instant thing there is, okay, well, how do you do that? Guess what? It doesn't say. So I have to figure out what markets do I brainstorm for. And I've mentioned here, do I use a done for you funnel? I'm not sure that I'll do a funnel, because let's keep going. So he's decided that he's going to use fitness professionals. I'm telling you right now, I won't be doing fitness professionals. Right? I also know that these individuals have the money and desire to pay for a solution that will provide them with qualified leads on autopilot. That is fantastic, right? That is great. So instantly I'm writing down, in fact, I might even make a note here, right? I'm writing down, how do I find these on Instagram? Because there's no question that this is an Instagram plan. And I'm so glad we chose an Instagram plan, because it's really the hotspot right now. I really do think it is a fascinating thing. So how do I find these on Instagram? Guess what, folks? I have no freaking clue. But I need to come up with a plan for it. I need to figure out, wow, who do I know who's good at Instagram? Fortunately, I know a couple of people. So I need to ask them. I might even touch base with Jeremy and ask him. Right? I need to do my research. I need to figure this out. So that's why, for breaking this down, that's a question mark. I have no idea right now. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Okay. But I've not, oh my God, I don't know what audience I'm going to pick. That's it. It's over. No, I just need to figure that out. Right? Because guess what? There will be processes. There will be people who do that. There will be solutions to this. Right? So we need to figure that out. And spoiler alert, there are solutions for this. Okay, so but I don't know. Doesn't say it here. So I need to figure that out. After that, now this is the sentence where you really missed it when you were doing your analysis. And normally I don't like to blame you, but hey, we're getting real for 45 days here. So you missed this, guys. You really missed it, right? Listen to this very carefully. After that, I would determine how I was going to make the $10,000, including products, price points, and conversion numbers. Now, that's one sentence. Just one sentence. But to me, is the crux of the success of the 30 days, right? Now, here's the thing. A product I know that can easily generate $5,000 to $10,000 in 1 month would be a done-for-you sales funnel that I could sell to fitness professionals. That's a product he knows. Do I know how to do a funnel for fitness professionals? No, I do not. Oh, okay. Problem. So what product am I going to use? So I'm going to need to figure out product, price points, and conversion numbers. I'm going to need to figure that out. So, that was one sentence there, right? Now, he's saying here that a funnel, selling funnels is potentially a really cool thing. And I've put that in. Who could use a done-for-you funnel? Because I can create a really killer diller funnels. I do it for clients. So potentially that could be a cool thing. I don't know if it's the same thing, but that doesn't, I'm not going to block myself off with one product. Are you serious? I'm not going to handicap myself like that. I'm going to think about, what products could I create? What products could I deliver that will deliver me that $10,000 with the proviso that it's a sustainable business? Because remember, I could and a lot of you very cleverly noted that many of the plans, and it would have been so easy if you'd picked one of these for me, involve coaching. I could have nailed those coaching plans, and I'm so sad you didn't pick it, but I'm happy too, because the reality here is I'm not sure that, I might want to create, at the end of the day, if I'm going to make 10 grand, there's many ways to do that. I could sell a $1 product $10,000 times. I could sell a $10 product 1,000 times. I could sell, I'm going to $10 product 1,000 times. I could sell a $100 product 100 times. That's right, folks. Yes, 4 zeros. Yeah, I could sell a $100 product 100 times. I could sell a $1,000 product 10 times, or I could sell one $10,000 product. Now, doesn't that seem a little bit more achievable? Like, to figure out how to sell 100 widgets for 100 people at $100, that's achievable. In fact, 1,000 doesn't even, that doesn't super affect me so much either. Let's bring this over so you can see it a little bit bigger. No, don't want that. There we are. Saw all my shopping lists. So, notes for Jeremy. Turn off all notifications. Goal is 1,000. Need to figure out that. Need to brainstorm. Now, I could look at funnels, right? That is something that I could absolutely do. And so I haven't taken that off the board, right? So a funnel is potentially something fun that I could sell people. So I'm not taking that off the board just yet. But then he goes on. Let's go back to iBooks here. So it is cool. The sales funnel I use to generate leads for the new business is the same one I'll sell to the fitness professionals. I like that. You sort of sell. That's a very clever technique. There are people who do it exceptionally well. Frank Kern is a genius at doing this. He shows the product which sells the product which sells the product. It's very clever. That's his number one way of doing things. So let's have a look at this. In day one, all I have to do is customize marketing message, an email follow-up sequence to fit their business. This means I only have to build one funnel from scratch, and I can use it both as a means to generate leads and as a product I'll be selling. So very cool. That's a good strategy. Smart. Finally, I would use what I've learned from Russell in .com Secrets, that's a book, by the way, to determine and sketch out the exact funnel and email sequences I would need to pull this all off. Okay. So there's a couple of challenges here. One is picking a product, figuring out price point. Picking a market is a big deal. Picking a product and a price point is a big deal. Figuring out whether they are hungry, capable buying audience is a big deal. Need to figure that out. And, and I need to read Russell Brunson's .com Secrets, which I have read, but I need to obviously reread that and figure out what funnel I'm going to use. So when I've gone to break down this day, over here on the right-hand side, I've tried to break it down into CFTs, right? So now CFTs, you might be wondering, what the hell is a CFT? A CFT stands for critical focus time. It's a 50-minute block of time, right? That's the maximum. Because why do I use 50 minutes? Because science has proven that the longest a beginner can concentrate for on an intensive creative activity is 50 minutes before they need a break and they can go back to it, right? So that is a big thing, right? So that's one thing, right? So the other key thing about a CFT is you need to write it in such a way. Now, I will go over this in a lot more detail, and you'll actually see me doing this during this whole challenge exercise, because to me, this is crucial for making it work, right? This is going to be fundamental on all of that, right? So let's have a look. So we've got to, so when I break this down, turn off all the notifications. Actually not going to be as easy as it sounds. Well, it is actually now, thanks to iOS 12 and screen time. It's going to make that a hell of a lot easier than what it has been in the past, because I can literally block a whole bunch of stuff off. So that's really cool. So I need to do that. That's going to take me one CFT. If it takes shorter, great. That's fine. 2, I've got to select a market in 50 minutes. So I'm going to need to plan out how I'm going to do that, right? So now I know how I'm going to do that. And again, I'll come to that later, but I can get that. Then I'm going to have to spend 50 minutes figuring out the product and the price point. And again, there is a model for that. Then 4, I've got to pick a funnel from .com secrets that I'm going to use for this price and product point, right? So I'm going to use a proven funnel that I can use from the .com secrets book. Okay, so that's an example of just breaking down one day, right? And I've done this for a few of the days. I haven't done it for all of the days yet. But day 2, he goes on to talking about focusing about Instagram. So I want to leave you finally with this piece, okay, this piece, because this is really important. Because people are focused and they'll be so intense about the $10,000. If I don't get the $10,000, I will fail. That's not my expectation here. That's why it's the scoreboard. And yes, there'll be people out there say, "Oh, well, you didn't get $10,000." I'll never forget. I will never ever forget. Of course, many of you who've been around for a long time will forget Dan Rain's pink thong challenge, where he said he would wear a pink thong if he and film himself on YouTube if he didn't get $15,000 in 30 days. And he failed. He only got 14,100 and had to then be on. In fact, if you search Dan Rain pink thong YouTube, I suspect you'll still see it. It's still there, right? So, but he didn't fail. Are you kidding? He made 14 grand. That wasn't a failure. So I'm definitely not going to let my brain feel like I'm a failure if I don't hit $10,000. I will feel like a failure if I don't do this, though, right? This, what you're seeing in front of you now is the customer factory blueprint. This is something from the guy who did Lean Canvas and Scaling Lean, Ash Muriah. Ash is a brilliant thinker about creating businesses. And he actually talks about creating, at the end of the day, you want to create, this factory is your product delivery process. And it's a happy customer factory. That's what I want to create. My biggest thing is I create multiple happy customers. Right? That is my huge goal right now, is to create happy customers, right? Why happy customers? Why is happy customers so important? Because and what's a happy customer? Come on, Ed, you've been berating us for using measurable metrics. How can you determine whether somebody is happy? Well, guess what? There's actually a way of doing that. And it's here, the referral engine. And what we know is for every new customer we get, they refer greater than one customer to this process. So in other words, they like it so much that they refer at least one other person. So they bring in one person that I didn't have to pay for. So that's highly measurable, right? So we can measure referrals. So for every new customer I get, every new one, and these are through customers I've paid for, I need to be able to get one referral. So that greater than one, actually, because once we get greater than one, then we've got virality. Okay. We can actually get a business which grows like that. And that's very important for me. So you'll see this diagram a hell of a lot as we go forward over the next 2 weeks as we're doing our prep work. Because for me, in our execution plan, I am going to be focused on creating a happy customer factory. That is what it's all about. Now, the thing, adquisition, which is a combination of advertising and acquisition, because Ash believes, and so do I, that paid traffic is the only way to go with a successful business. Now, as I've gone through in this plan, the number one way that Jeremy does that is through this mysterious thing called shout outs. Now, I've heard of this. I know what it means. It's, to me, I would call this a version of native advertising, which Academy members would know is one of my, I think is going to be the biggest form of advertising going forward. So that's another reason I'm so glad you voted for this plan. But I need to learn all about the shout outs because, as Jeremy quite succinctly says in his 30-day plan, I don't have enough space to tell you about that. So I need to learn that. So that's something that I've got to figure out. Where's this shout outs? Where am I going to find out about shout outs? Where am I going to figure out what they're going to do? Tad says there are many YouTube videos up to watch for familiarizing yourself with them. Exactly. You know, that is going to require some research. So I'm going to have to put some CFTs in prep over the next 2 weeks to just figure out what shout outs mean, right? Another word you're going to hear me say a lot is cheat. And I want you to know right now, I am going to cheat. I am going to cheat hard. Anywhere where I can cheat, I'm going to cheat. Now, when people hear the word cheat, they quite rightly hear the amazingly negative connotation of the word cheat, right? It is a shortcut by nefarious means, right? By breaking rules. Okay, that is what they talk about when they talk about cheats. Perhaps what a nicer way of calling this is shortcuts, right? I will take shortcuts. So I will take shortcuts to achieve my goal wherever I possibly can, right? I'm going to do that. Make no mistake. And I don't see that as a negative. I see that as a positive. Like, for example, I know I've got 2 weeks here, so I'm going to use the hell out of those 2 weeks to learn about shout outs, to read .com secrets, right? To understand everything else that I don't know so that I've got a working knowledge of that. Because frankly, I want to avoid as many there are days where there's minimum 8 CFTs in this plan, which is going to suck, right? It's not life-threatening, but it's just going to suck. Right. So I'm going to really need to boy, we'll be on the bulletproof coffees that day for sure. And maybe even some files and supplements and all sorts of things. Cocaine, just straight, cocaine just to get through, just like the copywriters now. I'm kidding. I don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, all that sort of thing. I literally haven't. I'm sort of sad I didn't try LSD when I was at university. I really should have, based on the current research. But no, drugs are bad, folks. We're not going to use drugs during this 30-day process. Just want to make that absolutely clear. That's not the sort of cheating I'm talking about. But I will be looking for shortcuts and looking for plans. So one of the things that you'll hear me refer to consistently is there's a few people that are sad that I'm not going to be utilizing drugs through this this process. Look, what you do in the privacy of your own home is completely up to you. No judgment here. Love all, serve all. That's what I say. Okay, so I am going to be using the road. So part of that cheat is looking, well, what roadmaps do I have available to me? This is a free PDF that you're seeing in front of me. And this is all of the, I've got all of this, this knowledge doesn't go. So I will be supplementing Jeremy's stuff with stuff that I'm aware of, right? So I'm going to be doing that as well, just so you know. But one of the non-negotiables here is this: all this acquisition is all going to be like Instagram. And one of the things I like about Instagram is I think it's actually great for high quick starts. I think it's great for high fact finders. I think it's a pretty good medium, actually. And I know like some academy members who are killing it. In fact, one of my most successful students of all time, Nathan Chan, Nathan was able to build his entire business, his magazine and his entire empire from Instagram. So, it's something that I've wanted to have a look at for the longest time. And so I'm really fascinated by it. So I'm really excited to be using Instagram. So one of the things that I will not, there's no shortcuts, is that everything that I'll be doing to get traffic during this entire process, the only things I'll be using to get traffic, look at the Kardashians, you're absolutely right, is Instagram, right? That's a non-negotiable, right? I think, what the product will be, I'm keeping open-minded. It might be a funnel. I might sell a funnel, but I don't know, right? Because one of the things I know is if I want to build a happy customer factory, I have to solve people's problems. So part of what I'll be working on in execution over the next 2 weeks is figuring out that, so that when I go to execute the market choice, and when I go to, which I'll be live streaming, by the way, you'll see me do all this live, I'll be figuring out, okay, what's the market I'm going to go for? What's the product I'm going to go for? So what am I going to do? What's going to be their customer activation? Right, which is, again, terminology which you may not be familiar with, but I'm really leaning towards a much lower price point and going for a bit more volume. That'll require paid traffic. So part of my building up a thank you, Grave Belly. Maybe that's one of the things I should do is run thing and beg, get money, get donations, GoFundMe. For donations for my Instagram. No, I won't be doing that. But I have to come up with some ways to raise the money to afford to pay for that Instagram, right? So I need to figure out how I'm going to do that. I've got some ideas, but I'm going to need to figure it out, because remember, I'm starting from no dollars. So I've got to figure that out, right? So I need to have, I think he had, did anybody in the chat remember? Was it $500 or $750 for shout outs? I think it was $500 or something like that. And before I spend that, I need to make sure I've got some sort of funnel in place. So I'm going to need to raise, if I look at the back of the envelope in ad spend, I'm probably going to need it. So how am I going to raise that? One of the things will be selling stuff. I might have to hit eBay and sell some stuff so that I can raise the money to do this. Maybe I might do I won't sell editing services, but maybe I have to get onto Fiverr and do some stuff there you spend $1,000 on shout outs, $750 for shout outs. So there you go. So I need to raise at least $750 before I get to the shout out phase of this process. So I really want to understand how that works. So I need to understand shoutouts. So are you starting to see how all of this breaks down, right? And I'll leave you this final thing as well. Do you notice how I'm writing everything down? Like I've got my, planning sheet there, which you saw a picture of in this presentation. You see I'm using these blueprints. Do you notice how I'm writing? And you'll see, boy, you're going to see some GoPro footage with a whiteboard. You're going to get more whiteboard and Post-it notes than you know what to do with over the next 45 days. But I want you to understand it's really a physical, tangible process. Another huge mistake people make is they keep it all in your head in trying to do that. In fact, one of the things I'm going to do after I finish with you guys today is a 50-minute focus finder, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've got to do. And so I need to get all this out of my head and all onto paper. So I'm going to do a 50-minute focus finder later today, actually, after I finish with you guys, because that's going to be really, really important to do as well, just to get it out of my head and onto paper. And there's a lot, because I've got to, it's not only this, the project, it's what am I doing for coaching next month? What am I doing in the academy next month? What am I doing with family next month? What am I doing with health next month, right? There's a lot of stuff. So I need to get that out of head and onto paper. So that's going to be really important. All right. Thank you very much for today. I'm super excited about this. I really am. A little bit of trepidation, but I am excited about it. And so one of the things that, please make sure you like, please make sure you share if you think there are people that you would like to invite along and that should be watching along as we do this. Feel free to do that. Sharon says, do we have an assignment? Yeah, you've got to get your shit together. You have to get what's your energy plan going to be for the process, and what is your engage plan going to be? You need to break down, for whatever plan that you're doing, you need to break down each day of that plan into 50-minute segments, right? I'm not going to talk about assignments much over the next 45 days because this is go time, right? This is the big show, the big dance, right? It's work time, right? So there's no assignments. No, it's either you do or you don't, right? I've just told you what I'm doing for this entire week is we've got the energy plan knocked out. There's a stack of stuff I have to do in terms of just I have to learn shout outs. I have to learn, what else? Oh yeah, .com secrets. I've got to go through .com secrets. I've got to figure out I'm going to figure out what I can sell. So to figure out, so I've got money for advertising, et cetera, et cetera. So it's go time, right? It's go time. You need to, if you've got you need to pick your plan. You need to break down your plan by day. I'll be going through and breaking down every day of Jeremy's plans. And that's sort of easy actually, because unlike a lot of the plans, most of the last half of his plan is repetitive daily exercises. In fact, he talks about checklists and things like that. So I'll be doing that and going through, and creating the checklists and doing all those sorts of things. I won't be creating the checklist because that's during the action. I'll be creating the checklist during the challenge, but I'll be figuring out, okay, what don't I know? I'm going to have to start thinking about markets. What markets am I going to do this challenge on? Where do I want to build a business? Where do I want to build a business that's going to last the next 5 years? It's going to employ a bunch of challenges so they can learn on the job. That's going to deliver really great, happy customers. Where do I want to build that business? What business does that look like? Right now, I have no idea. I don't. I literally have none. So that could cause massive cognitive stress. So fortunately, though, I know processes, which I'll be starting to do in terms of mind mapping, in terms of 10-minute free writes, just to get down. What I won't be doing is I won't be sitting there thinking in my head, oh, what market have I got to do? Oh, which one am I going to do? I'm not going to, that's not the way I'm going to be doing it. And that's how amateurs do it. And that's why they get themselves into so much trouble, because they try to do it in your head. Your head's not a good place to do this stuff. We need to do it here. Okay, before you go, what I would love you to do is, what's been your biggest for those of you who are live, put it in the live chat. For those of you watching the replay, I would love it if in the comments you could, what was your big insight from the 4 E's today? What was your big insight from today's lesson? I'd love to hear that from you before you go. Really valuable, Ed. I'm doing a different plan and these insights are incredible. Yeah. So you just need to take, just like I carved away Jeremy's words, where most people just instantly focused on fitness and creating a funnel for fitness people, you need to carve away what I said today and then slot in your plan that you're going to do. And so you need to break it down by CFTs. What don't I know? Every time there's a term or something I don't know, put that down in your notes, because that is something that you are going to have to find out and work on. And don't wait till the plan starts. Cheat. Let's do it now. Let's figure out those things that we don't know. Let's learn that about, love the crossover from Ash Mora. I think it's Mariah. I'd love to know how he pronounces that. Turn off all notifications, focus on your business and time without distractions. Just the process to break down a plan. Great to see it live. Will you be going through the process you use to choose a market? Yes, I will. Absolutely. Spoiler alert. It's well and truly documented in my fabulous book, Your First Dollar. Get everything out of my head and down on paper and energy, looking at engagements. Fantastic, folks. All right, this is going to get crazy. The schedule of all of this will potentially change. Like the way I deliver content over the next 45 days, it won't change between now and next week. We'll be back on Sunday at this time. But then once the challenge starts, because I'll be communicating more on a daily basis, so just keep an eye out. I'll let you know. Make sure you join the Academy group, because that's where I'll be letting people know about when I'm doing broadcasts and live streams and all those sorts of things. And of course, one of the best ways you can know when I'm doing live streams, because I'll always be to YouTube, is to hit like, hit subscribe, and bash that notification bell so you get notifications when I go live. All right. With that, thank you, everybody. Awesome. Thumbs up. Let's do this. What have I got myself into? It's going to be cray-cray. And the challenge group. Yes, the challenge group, all new challenge. Search that on Facebook, all new challenge. Just type in all new challenge in the search box on Facebook group and then join, and you'll get all the notifications. All right. That's it. We're out.